Excuse me. Okay, I'm back again. Thought I had to, well, never mind. Anyways, I just had a soda, so really kind of about to, maybe it's nothing. Anyways, in this video, I'm going to talk about spiritual blindness. And it's part of the demonic influence series. I only have a few more videos left in that. So, anyways, demonic influence series, spiritual blindness. The key scripture for this video will be 2 Corinthians 4:3 and 4. By the way, I think the last video I might have gave the wrong reference when I talked about the scripture about that proves mental attacks that are in the mind. Just to clarify, the scripture that talks about that is 2 Corinthians 10:4-5, which talks about casting out imaginations or evil imaginations and stuff like that. And so it begins with, for weapons of warfare are not carnal, but are mighty for pulling down the strongholds. As the scripture in that reference, the two verses in that reference right there is what I meant to give in the last video, and I think I accidentally gave the wrong reference. I think the reference that I gave was 2 Corinthians chapter 4, 3-4 for that, and that's the wrong reference. That reference is the key scripture though for this video, which specifically talks about the devil blinding people, especially in verse 4. So let's get into this. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 3-4. I am reading off of BlueLetterBible.com. I have these in multiple verse retrieval. I think a few other videos I might have called it multiverse, but I meant multiple verse, as in scripture. So BlueLetterBible.com, the website has a feature where you can put a bunch of scripture references in one area, and it will retrieve them all into one place. And I'm reading off of that. So, 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 3-4. But even if our gospel is veiled, it is veiled to those who are perishing. That's verse 3, verse 4. Whose minds the God of this age has blinded. Or God of this world. I just did a video about that. In fact, that video was uploaded today, as of the day that I am filming this video. The word age in that verse can also mean world, and it is talking about, and that's talking about the devil, of course, and it is talking about his influence. So whose mind the God of this world has blinded, who do not believe, lest the light of the gospel of the glory of Christ, whose is the image of God, should shine on them. Yeah, who is the image of God? So, verse 3-4, verse 4 clearly talks about being blinded by the God of this age, or God of this world. Some translations says world, and some translations say age. I think the King James says age. No, excuse me, world. The New King James says age. The Greek word can mean either one. Incidentally, there is a difference between ruler of this world and God of this world, and I just went into detail into that in my video, Satan, the God of this world. Well, basically, to sum it up, real quickly, just a brief overview or kind of summary of the video. Ruler of this world, which we only see Satan referred to as that in the four Gospels. Ruler of this world is referring to the to Satan having the authority of this, which he stole from Adam at the fall of man. Okay, so at the fall of man, Satan, at original sin, Satan stole Adam's authority. Okay? At that moment, Satan became the ruler of this world, because he stole the dominion that Adam had. Jesus restored that dominion to the church, to Christians, right before he ascended back into heaven and delegated that authority to us at the end of Matthew, in the book of Matthew. So there you go. I believe that the phrase "ruler of this world" is only used once in the four Gospels, and it's referred to before the fall, then after. Before the crucifixion, then after the crucifixion, we see the devil referred to as the god of this world or god of this age. That right there, god of this age is actually referring to the influence that Satan has, Satan's influence. There, that is the difference between ruler of this world and god of this world. Satan no longer has the dominion. Jesus got back the dominion, the authority that Adam had. So Satan is no longer the ruler of this world. He is the god of this world, little g. And really, that only refers to him having influence. And the word world is age. So, there you go. It's talking about having authority over this age, having influence over people. That's what that word means. So, anyways, let's move on to John chapter 5, 1 John 5:19. We know that we are of God, and the whole world lies under the sway of the wicked one. That once again, the wicked one is Satan. We know that the wicked one is Satan. Now then, I need to hurry up and move along. We've been getting the video done today. I'm running behind. Excuse me. Ephesians 6:12. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. So, notice, rulers of this darkness. So again, that's not Satan's only referred to as the ruler of this world, or in the four Gospels, the ruler of the darkness of this age, spiritual wickedness. That is something completely different than the ruler of this world, obviously. And that word "world" can actually refer to. Actually has a different meaning than the word "world" that's used in God of this world. So the word "world" in John 16, ruler of this world, can actually refer to people, or this whole planet. Whereas the one in for 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verses 4, where it says God of this age, well, so in King James translation says world. So that is a different word, and that can also mean world or age. Now then, 2 Corinthians chapter 10 verses 4 through 5. Let's see. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty in God for pulling down strongholds, casting down arguments. By the way, arguments is a reasoning process. It has nothing to do with debating. It has nothing to do with winning a debate. Some translation uses the word argument, which I think is a better translation. But the word imagination, excuse me, I think imagination is a better translation. Because the word argument can also refer to a reasoning, like a thought process, if you will. And the word stronghold in verse 4 can also symbolically refer to an imagination or a thought process. So cast down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing every thought into captivity of the obedience of God. So, again, we're bringing every thought into captivity. So we can look at that. That is also talking about that's for the proof that this is talking about mind. This is talking about the enemy planting thoughts or imaginations on yourself, evil imaginations, deceiving you, or even mental attacks. One of the three attacks, types of attacks: circumstantial, calamity, or whatever you want to call that, which we see demonstrated in the book of Job. We know that Satan was behind everything that Job went through. Mental attacks, in which that scripture right there I just read proves that. Ephesians 6, chapter 6, verse, I think, 16. The fiery darts of the enemy. That's talking about emotional attacks. So, basically, this verse right here shows that, especially when you go back to verse 1, shows that the world is blinded by Satan. And okay, people who are ungodly, people who are of the world, people who are not saved, are blinded by Satan. Spiritual blindness. But I also believe that even Christians can somewhat be spiritually blinded. In the sense that they are falsely accusing others, other pastors or other Christians or other prophets of being false, based on their own personal belief. It doesn't match what they believe it means, or such is the effect of that. Especially when there's no direct evidence, when the pastor in question, is not denying the gospel, and either way is not denying Jesus in any way. They might say, basically, they're false based because they disagree with what they say. Yeah, that's not how false prophets or false teachers, false prophecy work. And also, the true distinction between true and false is intent. But that's for another video. So there's spiritual blindness. Atheists are spiritually blind. People who are lost are spiritually blind. And sometimes spiritual blindness is a stronghold. The enemy has people blinded so that they can't see, so they can't recognize God. So, yeah. And again, I just gave scripture, and the first scripture I read is proof of that. 2 Corinthians 4, 3 and 4, I believe. The references will be in the description, of course. So, yeah, that's it for this video. Bye.